First and foremost, I want to say thank you. This is early in the morning. You guys are still on your coffee, first coffee probably. Thank you so much for being here. What we're going to cover today is how we have built a very innovative technology, I should say, with zero copy, together with AWS, Salesforce plus AWS, how we bring that unified data so that you can take full advantage of it, act on it, activate with your AI and BI applications. That's what we're going to cover today. First, by the way of intros, my name is Raj Kumar. You can also call me Raj. And I'm a product leader for Data Cloud. I've been at Salesforce for 6 years. And since this is a small group, I want to also keep it open. If you have questions, put up your hand. We have a mic in the back. We can keep it a little bit interactive, but not too much. We can keep all of the bigger questions till the end. So that's about me. I also want to invite Yogesh, who's on the stage with me. Yogesh?
Hi, my name is Yogesh Dhimathe. I am a Senior Partner Solutions Architect at AWS, supporting Salesforce. Been with AWS for close to 3 years. And I spent 4 years with Salesforce before joining AWS. So very happy to be here, and thank you for joining us.
Great. So we have two major parts to this presentation, how we are going to spend this time together. First part, I'm going to walk you through the slides, talk about what Salesforce Data Cloud is and how some of this integration has come together. I'm happy to go into details, but again, I will see how much of the interest that you have and keep with the flow of the slides. The second big part is we have a demo. So Yogesh is going to walk you through everything that we talk about and show you exactly how it works, okay? And we may have a little bit of time at the end, so we can do Q&A on that after that. Forward-looking statement, please make your purchase decisions based on what's available today, not what I'm going to say or what we're going to talk about today, okay? So first we'll start with a little bit of framing, right? We all are technologists, we deal with data, and we know data is one of those things where it tends to sit in silos, depending on which customer you're working with or depending on what you're actually trying to solve, data tends to sit in silos. If I'm a marketing cloud user or a marketing user, I may call my user a subscriber. If I'm on the sales cloud, I call my user a contact, or a service cloud may be calling somebody a user or a caller, right, or subscriber, whatever, right? So you have different variety of data that sits in all sorts of silos. You have structured data, you have unstructured data, all of it in different disparate systems. And we know that all of this data is also super useful, but it's also equally hard to bring them all together. You can easily think about many different efforts, maybe silo efforts, that have been kicked off to unify some of this data, okay? That means it's a challenge. It means you're actually always constantly trying to solve some of these disparate data problems constantly in your organizations. We believe there are more than 1,000 applications, over 72%, that in each of these organizations that have to deal with this problem, right? And because all of this enterprise data is so siloed, most importantly, it's not so much about the data itself, but what can you do with the data? How do you actually use that data in the flow of work so that you can act on it and activate that data? This is where our data cloud becomes super interesting for you to look at. We've actually talked to customers who deal with this trapped data continuously, and the inability for them to act on it soon enough because stale data is not all that useful when you're actually dealing with it. And that's a huge issue. But that's not all. When it comes to security, governance, it's no good that your data is sitting in different places and you have to now employ different techniques and different way of dealing with how you apply the RBAC rules, ABAC rules, all of that in different places, and think about who the persona is. Does he have the right access to the data? It just poses more and more of this complexity and challenges as you go through this. Now, let me see a show of hands. How many of you are using Redshift or any one of these data warehouses? Can you shout out which one it is?
We're using Redshift.
You use Redshift? Okay. Redshift, okay. Anyone else? I'm sorry?
Yeah. Ab initio.
Okay, gotcha. Okay. Gotcha. Fantastic. Okay, got it. And you also use Salesforce? Yes? Shout out again, which one? Sales Cloud, Marketing Cloud, Service Cloud, FSC? Yeah, okay, great. I hear you. Now, let me ask you this. How do you actually bring the Salesforce data, which is transactional data, your sales, service data, to your data platform? Whatever the data platform that you have today, right? Whether it's Redshift or Snowflake Databricks or anything else, what do you do today? Do you have an ETL pipeline? You have an ETL pipeline. You have to deal with this. So that's what we're talking about, right? And it's one of the customers, it's actually a financial customer that I talked to, had this complex ETL pipelines. They have Sales Cloud, Service Cloud. They are a big Snowflake shop. They made a decision to standardize on Snowflake, which means they have to bring all of this data into Snowflake constantly. But the volume of data was so big that it took them several days, sometimes weeks, to get all of the data into Snowflake. So imagine that. By the time you actually have the data in Snowflake, it's already weeks old, right? It's old data. Now you have to think about how to actually, build your dashboards, build your AI, build your agents if you're actually thinking about agentic experiences, right? It becomes super complex, and it's very frustrating when those ETL pipelines break because something on the source system broke, right? Your schema models broke, and your schema broke, and your ETL pipelines broke. Now you're chasing down the guy who has to fix those ETL pipelines and get it all working. If it failed, you have to restart it. That's not all. You now have copied all of your data from one to another. You know what gets even worse? Is now you have to deal with multiple such data sources that you have to bring into your, whatever is the data platform that you have. And all of that just adds to the complete complexity of not being able to take full advantage of the data. And that's the part that's frustrating, right? If you're a data technologist, if you're a business user, not being able to fully tap into that value of the data that's just sitting there. It's there, but you can't really take full advantage of it is very frustrating, right? Data freshness, schema challenges, but also governance like we talked about. How do you actually trust what goes where and who's using for it? And all of that also puts you in the loop. Now you have to actually think about all these complexities. Now, what we have done is a technology, a technique, how we unlock that trapped data, right? Without zero copy, we talked about all the issues that you typically run into. Now, did I miss any of the issues? Did you have any other issues that I didn't say, but you actually face in your own organization when you're running your ETL pipelines? Anyone? Did I cover it well? All right, okay, I see a couple nods, that's good enough. With zero copy, what we really mean is zero copy. There's no copying, there's no duplication. Some people ask me, oh, does it replicate? No, there's no replication, right? And I'll talk about how it works, but just understand that it's super efficient because you don't have any operational cost to maintain these ETL pipelines. Sometimes that's very overlooked. You only look at the other aspects of how much time it takes to copy when your ETL pipelines are working, but to build a pipeline, to keep it working, there's an operational cost. You become very efficient. Your data is not going anywhere. It's actually the system of record. You have one source of data, which means it's accurate, and it's more fresh. You can act on it in near real time. And I'm talking about seconds, not days or weeks, right? That's super powerful. I was talking to one of the private equity companies that was looking to standardize on a data platform, and one of their challenges is every time their executive wants to build a dashboard to see what is the net worth of an individual and what are the type of investment promotions that we can send. How can we actually take advantage of this this individual with a high net worth and be able to offer them some of the products that we have at the time they need, because they want to see the money growing, right? And it's very frustrating for this customer. Every time they ask for some of those type of visibility and visuals, they have to talk to, like 5 different, people, heads of different things, and they all are hiding their data. Some are sitting in spreadsheets, some are in S3 buckets, some are in CRM systems like we talked about, and they're all hugging, and they don't necessarily talk to each other. It's very frustrating. It takes them days, it takes them weeks to get a dashboard. Now that's time lost, and time is money, and we all know that, right? And we talked about security. And last but not the least, what we have done with Zero Copy, it's easy and simple to use. And I'm going to talk about this maybe even multiple times. It's all clicks, no code, right? You're not writing code, complex code to maintain these pipelines. From the ground up, we built Data Cloud to be open and extensible. We said, you have your data strategy, you have data sitting in Snowflake, you have data sitting in Redshift, leave it where it is. Don't worry about it. But we will provide you the capability to access the data wherever it is, because you already have the data coming in, you have some CRM data. We'll provide you the way for you to get and take full advantage of it where the data is. It's open and extensible with Zero Copy, but that's not all. We have bring your own model. If you're using SageMaker, for example, use it. Just bring the inferences and combine that with the data so that you can create a segment, or you can send them on an activation journey, right? We integrate with Amazon Ads, so we have multiple activations. So you can send them on an ad journey if you're a marketing analyst or a business user, right? But also, we have several App Exchange apps that you can take full advantage of. Now, some of you said you're thinking or building agents right now, and that's what we have completely the value, the shift. We think about data from the perspective of apps, from the perspective of the AI and BI and what we can activate, what's the value that we can bring to you and to your customers. And that's paramount, and that's what we have done with Agentforce. It's built on the Salesforce platform, right? I'm actually going to go to that and show you this. It's built on the Salesforce platform, right? From the ground up, which means it's on the Hyperforce, which is the public cloud infrastructure. It's secure, and it's essentially running Data Cloud at the heart of it. And Data Cloud is Salesforce's data platform that brings all of these capabilities, and I'm going to go into more detail on the next slide, so that you can activate all of your Customer 360 apps, your sales, service, marketing, commerce, right? And I think there is I'm going to put a plug right now, that if you go to the Salesforce booth, and I know some of you are planning to, don't miss to either see the Agentforce demo, and you can see if you can actually get your hands on and work on it, and you can see how you can build your agents and how the agents are acting on the data, grounded contextual data that you can completely take advantage of, so that the agents know who you are, what you have done on the website, which products you looked at, or what is your case. You called yesterday, so you don't want to be the person that's calling into the service agent. The service agent doesn't have a clue who you are, even though you called yesterday and filed a different case, and we're talking about the problem, and you start to repeat everything you said yesterday, right? And so you want to be able to see that in live, and that's a plug. Agentforce is built on top of all of this, right? Your Data Cloud, your trusted Salesforce platform, Data Cloud, your 360 apps, your Salesforce apps, and your agents working together, unified on that unified data, okay? Now I'm going to spend a little bit of time showing you left to right how this works, okay? Here's what I want you to do. If you're looking at the slide on the screen, I'm pointing to my left here, guys on the right. Go from left to right, okay? On the very left side, you'll see a column called data sources. What that shows you is we support out of the box hundreds of connectors. We even partnered with CData. We have data working with MuleSoft. You can connect to any of the sources that you have, whether it's your CRM or any of your hyperscalers, your S3, your GCP, your Azure, whatever it is that you have, all of your hyperscalers, all of your mobile and APIs, SDKs, right? all of your APIs. Unstructured data, multimodal data, that's not just the PDFs and documents, but also videos, pictures. We support out of the box. You can bring all of that data. Now, when you bring all of that data into Data Cloud, you have multiple ways to do this. You can bring them in batch mode, which is what you're used to when you do an ETL, right? You actually bring them in batch. Or you can have streaming. We have streaming connectors, and I usually show a actual live demo when I talk about the slide, but here we don't have that capability to show you a live demo in this presentation model, so I'm going to actually talk through this, so stay with me on this, okay? Streaming, we have many connectors, including Kinesis connector, where you can bring all of the data, the Kafka data, the streams into the Data Cloud. Besides that is the key capability that we are talking about today, which is zero copy. So you don't want to ingest, whether it's batch or streaming, but you want to be able to access the data where it is, whether it's in Snowflake or Databricks or Redshift or Google BigQuery, it doesn't matter, right? You want to be able to have access to that. That's what zero copy is. And we have also partnered. We have a zero copy partner network where many of the apps like Workday and you have IBM, you have many others, Zoom in, that are participating in this network so that they actually also want to take advantage of this capability to be able to have that unified data platform solution. When the data lands into Data Cloud, it lands as a data lake object. That's what we call it. It's basically a iceberg, Apache Iceberg table. So Data Cloud is standardized on Apache Icebergs in Parquet format, and it sits on S3 buckets. Okay, sits on S3. So now think about that. All of our data is in S3. It lands as data lake objects. When you land all of this disparate, different data that's landing into your Data Cloud, one of the biggest challenges you have is, how do I see my data? Can everybody see all of the data? We have what's called data spaces that allows you to look at data by department, by org, or by brand, so that you can decide which user gets to see what data. Now, when you bring in all of the data, we have built-in Salesforce information model that allows you to easily map all of the data, easily map your data types. You could be having an int in a different format, or so some numbers could be a different format, date could be a different format. You want to be able to have this canonical representation of all of the data. And once we model the data right out of the box, what you get is a data model object. Okay? It's nothing but a view on top of your existing iceberg table. Okay? And when we get all of the data, we build a graph so that you have essentially a graph of all of the data that you. So you've brought your data, you've been able to see it through the lens of a data space. You have actually modeled them, you harmonized it. Next, you can unify the data, which is essentially your identity resolution, right? You talked about all the different types of individuals. You want that single identity, and that's what identity resolution gives you. And that's very, very powerful because now you can actually take full advantage of the data and act on the data. What we mean by act is we provide data actions, which, for example, you can send them an email or through any webhook integration, do any of the actions that you want, send them to Slack, for example, or activate. You can create a segment and send them on a activation dummy. It could be an activation to an ad partner. It could be an activation to send them a marketing journey that you want to send them on. It could be any number of things that you could do, and all of that is possible. Or you can build insights on top of that, right? Calculated insights. What is it? It's facts and dimensions that you have, but all of that is essentially you no code, just clicks, right? You can create your insights. It could be a lifetime value. It could be a total order value. But you also can now look at the total order value for, let's say, Raj by region, by product, right? And so you can actually apply any number of dimensions and be able to take full advantage of that. Once that's built in, it's persisted in the Data Cloud. You can use those insights now to build your dashboards. You can actually see them on Tableau, or you can actually share them back out. So what you see on the very right side of it is all the activations you can do with the data. You can You can build your AI agents, you can do your AI models if you like, or you can use our third-party, bring your own models that we've integrated with, or do a data out. So imagine you built your insights and you have your lifetime value for this individual, you have built your score, but you want to be able to send them back into Databricks or Snowflake so that you can have your dashboards that's already built and running easily be able to take advantage of it, all in the flow of work. We have tight integration with Flow. Some of you are familiar with Flow, right? Salesforce Flow, which is essentially all automation, and all of our actions are built through Flow so that it's completely automated. And it's easy, drag, drop. You can actually add a node and build all of that. Okay, so now that we have talked about how this works, I'm going to move forward a little bit. The main integration that we have built with AWS right now is to Redshift. But the way we have done that is through the lake formation and glue data catalog so that we have the building blocks, the right foundation to be able to light up many more engines down the line. But we started with Redshift with easy way to unify the data between Salesforce Data Cloud and Redshift. You now can act on the data immediately. So what we have today is what's called data federation. Federation is nothing but, so we have two things. The left side that we saw, all of the way you can do the zero copy from your Snowflake or any of your external data like Redshift into Data Cloud is data federation or data in. And what we call the sharing outside as data out. That's data sharing. So essentially, you can take all of that enriched, powerful data back into Redshift, and we refer to that as data sharing. Both of that are available today. You can use it. What we're also doing in the very immediate future, early next year, is file federation. What that means is beyond JDBC or the query integration that we have done, we also want to be able to integrate it with the IRC or Iceberg REST catalog, right? And so that's the work in progress right now. It's fit for all purposes. We talked about this. You can be a data persona, who's typically the person who is in charge and responsible for building your ETL pipelines. In this case, it would be the person who's deciding what data can be shared, all with clicks, no code. You decide how the data actually is going to be shared and brought into the data cloud. Or it could be your business persona who decides how to use that data. So it's applicable to all of these personas. Now what I'm going to do is shift this a little bit to Yogesh to talk about Redshift and lake formation.
Sure. Thanks, Raj. So I'm going to spend a few minutes to talk about 3 key services that we are using to build this zero-copy integration capability with Salesforce. So first and foremost, it starts with Redshift. Sitting at the center of this data journey, Amazon Redshift, I'm sure all of you are familiar with it now. I saw a lot of hands were raised when Raj asked that question. It's our fully managed petabyte scale data warehouse, deeply interconnected with other data offerings, and it provides the best price performance in cloud data warehouse. Whether your data is operational data, transactional data sitting in JDBC databases, whether it is sitting in data lakes, it is streaming data sitting coming from clickstream via Kinesis, etc. Doesn't matter. Redshift helps you to securely ingest, combine, and share that data and run real-time and predictive analytics using AI and machine learning in just a few clicks with minimal data movement or copying. Redshift also has a serverless flavor where you can enable your engineers, developers, data scientists, and analysts to get started with analytics capabilities in Redshift with zero administration environment. The next key service we are using for zero-copy integration is Glue Data Catalog. Glue Data Catalog, oftentimes short-formed as GDC, is the most popular metadata store for data lake. So when Raj referenced, data is not copied from Redshift into Data Cloud or vice versa when we do this zero-copy integration. Under the hood, it uses Glue Data Catalog to get access to the metadata so you can still see the names of columns, the data types, etc. It has unmatched durability, availability, and scalability. And also, this is serverless. very cost effective, and natively integrated with many AWS as well as third-party analytics tools. And the last service we use for zero copy integration is lake formation. So lake formation simplifies the data lake permission management. It introduces database-style fine-grained permissions on data catalog resources. So remember, the data sharing is happening cross platforms. It is not, you're not essentially running a query, JDBC query on database to grant and allow permission. So lake formation takes that burden away and gives you a capability to have same set of features, and you can apply these permissions across data lake stack. So your actual data could be sitting in S3, it could be in Aurora, it could be in Redshift. Lake formation can control permissions not only at the database and table level, but also at column level. The permissions are applied to the objects no matter where they sit. And to scale manage these permissions, right? If you look at your data could be anywhere across any data lake services that AWS has. Lake formation provides LFTBAC, it's a mouthful acronym, lake formation tag-based access control. So you can basically specify rules so that when you create new objects, create new tables, add new columns, those permissions are automatically applied based on the tags that are there on those resources. And finally, since all of this access is happening through lake formation, authorization to metadata, authorization to access to S3, authorization to access to data in Redshift, it makes it very easy to monitor and audit your data lake access to ensure that you are complying with your internal data sharing policies. So I'll hand it back to Raj to talk about how we are using these services to facilitate data in and data out with Redshift.
Thank you, Yogesh. So we talked about two things, data federation and data sharing. So I'm going to go a little bit more detail and talk about how it works today, what we have done under the covers. The way I would like you to orient yourself when you're looking at the slide is, at the bottom you see that green bubble. Think of that as your external lake, your customer managed external lake. It could be Redshift, could be Snowflake, Databricks, one of those, right? And the one on the top is Data Cloud, and how Data Cloud stores its own data in your DLOs and DMOs and CIOs, right? Now, with data federation, we have implemented and provided this capability in two phases. Phase one is a query federation. Essentially what that does is allows you to live access data wherever the data is using queries. So we manage a lot of internal optimizations today, including query pushdown and predicate pushdown, things like that, so that you can take full advantage of being able to access live access, bringing in some of the learnings that we've had through building some of this over many, many years, right? So that's your live access through query. We also support what's called acceleration. And acceleration is if you need to be able to access data that you frequently access, readily available, so you don't have to actually query and run a query on your compute, you can accelerate it, and that's another level of optimization that we provide. How we do this? When we first set up that connection, say from Data Cloud to Redshift, we treat that as an external table. Essentially, we do a mount of that external table and be available within Data Cloud, which then allows us to essentially execute queries as if that's a table that we have, and let that execution work. And so when you bring that data in, remember I talked about batch streaming and all these other ones. The zero copy is one way to bring data. You'll be able to see that this is actually external table. You are operating on data that's live and externally available. Phase two, as I was talking about earlier, is the tighter file level federation at the storage level. And we do that with the integration with IRC, the Iceberg Rest Catalog. And that gives us another level of functionality, which would be even faster, even more efficient, taking native advantage of some of these integration capabilities. Okay? So external tables, live access, acceleration, be able to naturally take advantage of this for the query federation. And then there's the file federation, which does the storage level integration. That's phase 2 coming very, very soon. Okay. On the sharing outside, it's very similar. You see the way you want to orient is the green is still the external managed lake, customer managed external lake. The one on the left is Data Cloud and how it stores all of the existing data. And the concept and the idea, the way we have built this, is essentially using lake formation and Glue data catalog. And we share the metadata of where our data is, right? And that metadata is represented as secure views in Glue data catalog. And what that allows us to do is you can easily come in, and you'll see that in the demo, easily select what objects, Salesforce objects, you want to be able to share with Redshift, for example, and just point, click, and say, these are the data that I want to share, and here is how I want to share. And that's it. That metadata allows for the target, which is essentially Redshift. We link that share to the target, and automatically at that point onwards, all of the data is available to you in Redshift. Some of you said, not only do you want to take advantage of that in something like Redshift Query Editor, V2 Editor, and be able to see the data, you pop that up, you'll see the Salesforce objects that you just shared right there. It could be a case object, it could be an account object, and you can write your data frame, access the data, use SageMaker, or you can build your own SQL and run SQL queries on it. But not only that, we will be continuing to do more tighter integration with data zones. I know there's interest in this room for how that shows up. All of this is seamlessly possible so that you can not only see the data assets in your in data zone, but also as any of the business data catalog that you have. Now, another beauty of this is we do the day zero, the first time access and sharing of the data. So you have access to all of the data the first time, but then incremental, like day 1 and beyond, it's just the delta that needs to be shared. So that's even more optimal so that you're not, you're over a period of, say, 6 months, over a period of a year, your data has only changed incrementally. Not all the billion roles are changing all the time, and only those incremental data is available to you in your flow of work, wherever that you want to take advantage of. And that's a really powerful capability because you didn't have to do anything. It's just coming out of the box free for you. Okay? Now, 2 patterns, very simple patterns. Most common is what we refer to as the same region. It's both Redshift and Data Cloud are deployed in the same region. We seamlessly work together with the authentication model with lake formation, with Redshift. So once you have that established between Data Cloud and the customer's AWS region, you have access to Redshift. And what we do here, you see in the middle that you have actually the sharing in your yellow. That's your lake formation connection that you have. And once you have that, you basically can take full advantage of it with Resource Link. Automatically behind the scenes, you have Resource Link that connects all of this to your Redshift data, and it just works. Okay? It's a simple pattern, same region, where both Data Cloud as well as Redshift are available to you together. The second pattern is different region, cross-region, right? Where you have Salesforce Data Cloud in one region, but you have your Redshift in multiple regions. It could be, US West 1, US East, whatever, right? East and West, and multiple geographic locations. And it continues to work. And the way we have enabled that, and it actually works with your existing resource link sharing that AWS already supports, and we take full advantage of it. And basically, that allows us to share to lake formation and with the same model of the Glue data catalog, but all of the shared data is now available to you across different regions. So far, so good? Now, we're going to shift to the demo part of it. So all the things that we talked about and you heard, you'll see live how that works for both data federation as well as data sharing. Let me pass this to Yogesh. Yogesh, go for it.
Thank you, Raj. So in the demo, we'll have 2 different set of demos. One is data federation, where where we will move data out of Redshift, or rather, zero copy. We are not moving. We are accessing data from Redshift in Data Cloud, and then data sharing. We are sharing data from Data Cloud and making it available in Redshift. In both the demos, we will perform simple steps, connect to Redshift, pick tables that you want to get data from Redshift, and then map and add that data to Customer 360 data model. And for data sharing, we will create a data share target in Data Cloud, pick the objects that you want to share, and access those objects in Redshift. So let me start with sort of this narrative. Imagine Bob, the Data Cloud architect at Northern Trail Outfitters. It's a fictitious company that we always use in these demos. Bob is responsible for architecting Data Cloud, and he has a vision of unifying data that is living in Data Cloud. So that is coming from Sales Cloud, Service Cloud, Marketing Cloud, that is NTO's existing subscription. But also, there is a lot of data that is living in Redshift. It includes customers' web purchases. It includes product pricing. It includes product description. Customer is, clicking on some websites, and there is information provided by cookies. All of that is in Redshift. Bob wants to unify all of that data together, create a unified individual profile, and identify the propensity of customers who are good targets for reach out, so he can deliver more focused segmentation and activations. So let's see how easy and simple it is to perform the steps to connect to Redshift and get access to the data. And before I get there, I want to tell you an anecdote that one of the most stressful time in my life was connecting to a database, right? So it's complex. You have JDBC and ODBC. You have to figure out what drivers to download. Now with all different types of CPU architecture, the drivers are incompatible. There are network rules preventing access, which firewall port to open and things like that. And oftentimes the connection doesn't work. Salesforce makes it very easy to connect to Redshift with just point and click experience. You don't have to think about which drivers to use. Just connect to Redshift and see how easy it is to do that. So Bob goes to Data Cloud setup screen, and here Amazon Redshift. I want to. Are you able to see Redshift here? Amazon Redshift is a first-party connector there. He clicks on Get Started and then clicks on New to create a new Redshift connection. All he needs to provide is the connection name. Connection API name is automatically generated and provides Amazon Redshift endpoint. Bob can use Redshift serverless endpoint here, or he can use provision cluster endpoint. It doesn't matter. He provides username and password, the credentials, clicks on Next, and saves the connection, and connection is saved. It is already in the active status. Connection is already established. Bob just entered the connection information, clicked on save, and connection was done. No more messy process of writing even single line of code or downloading a driver, uploading it, and verifying whether it's version compatible or not. Once connection is established, Bob goes to Data Cloud application and creates a stream. So think of a stream as a representation of a Redshift data or your other source of data that you are bringing from other hyperscalers into Data Cloud. And if you see here, there are two different types of streams. One is an ingest stream where data can actually be copied if you want. So you might be able to see that there is an S3 data that is being ingested. And then other type of stream is federated. And federated is this zero copy integration that we are going to use. The benefit of federation that Raj already highlighted, data is not copied, it's inexpensive, and your source of truth, the data, lives where it is. Bob clicks on creating new data stream by hitting the new button, selects the Redshift from the set of tiles. clicks next, and then as soon as he selects next, it shows different type of tables that are available in Redshift for him to pick. He selects the tables that he wants to pick, web engagement score, product catalog, purchase history that we wanted to bring into Data Cloud. Clicks next, he provides some additional information, and then confirms that these 3 objects that we want to bring into Redshift are selected, clicks on save, and these 3 data streams are now created. And they are federated data streams. You see here top 3. They are now available in Data Cloud. Once data streams are created, Bob can now start mapping the data lake objects into data model entities. Now remember, this is a metadata representation here, facilitated or powered by Glue Data Catalog. The data is still living in Redshift. It is not copied over. So how easy it is to just map the data that is in Redshift to native data model entities in Data Cloud without having to physically move it here. Redshift data is treated as first-party citizen in Data Cloud. He completes the mapping, and then the processing is complete here, right? So now data is available for the next step. One of the most common use cases with this data in Data Cloud is segmentation. So Bob now wants to identify the prospective customers that are good to reach out. So he's now to do some little bit of an analysis on this data. So look at the analysis that Bob is doing. So he starts creating a segment to determine what segment of customers he should start reaching out. So he clicks on creating new segment by hitting the new button, provides the name of segment, target customer, and it has selected the segment with product catalog of jackets, the customers who have created at least 1 order in last 90 days. And all of this segment criteria is coming from Data Cloud right now. But Bob wants to use the information that is now available from Redshift. So he adds additional criteria here to say that, hey, I want to bring this purchase propensity information which is equal to or greater than 65. So that is coming from the data model object that we got from Redshift. And once he completes that, you can see like out of around 900,000 total customers, he has effectively identified 82,000 customers that are more likely to buy their products, right? So this is not a spray and pray marketing activation now. He's doing very focused activation. Once the segment is created, it is ready for activation. He goes into activation, creates a new activation, select the segment that was just created, and creates that activation for campaign. And this activation is now available in the customer console, where he's now able to see whether activation is working or not. So how easy it is to bring that data from Redshift into Data Cloud, work on it, create segmentation, use information that you want, and then drive an activation. So this is the first demo of data federation, where we are able to access data from Redshift into Data Cloud. Any questions so far? Okay. Now let's go into the next demo, where we will show how data sharing works. So here, data is available in Data Cloud, and we want to surface it in Redshift for native AWS users. They could be data scientists, data analysts who want to use Athena, Redshift to run queries on data that is in Data Cloud, but using AWS tools. So again, Bob has received a lot of requests from their various internal teams who want to get access to Salesforce data to do analysis, build dashboards, build machine learning models, have better propensity scoring using SageMaker. So Bob logs into Data Cloud and creates a new data share target by hitting this new button. In new data share target, Bob selects Amazon Redshift as a data share target, clicks next, provides the information such as name, etc. here, and clicks save. The data share target is created. So at that time, at this time, the connection between Data Cloud tenant and AWS account has been established. Now Bob goes and selects which objects he wants to share with this data share target. He goes to data share and creates a new data share now. He creates a new data share, selects the objects that he wants to share with the target that we just created. He picks case, individual identity link, and unified individual, all 4 native data model objects in Data Cloud to share with Redshift, creates a share, and the last step in sharing is linking this data share with the data share target. So he goes to the link and unlink menu and links the data share target, links the data share with the target that we just created, the one with Redshift. Data share is linked. Now let's flip the persona to an AWS user. So Maya, she's a data analyst. She uses AWS as part of her job, like AWS tools, and her favorite tool is Redshift Query Editor. And she's also responsible for building dashboards using QuickSight, building machine learning models using SageMaker. She logs into Redshift Query Editor, and now the objects, the 4 objects that we shared from Redshift, the case, individual, unified profile, all of that is natively available in Redshift Query Editor for Maya to query. She can also join the data here with other Redshift schemas and tables that are there. So essentially bringing everything together to drive better analysis and insights. So some examples of queries here where Maya has written a query to access Data Cloud as well as Redshift data together. And she has also built now a dashboard which shows prediction churn by product category. So she has information not only from Redshift but also from Data Cloud to build a unified dashboard here. So this concludes my this demo. Any question either on data federation or data sharing, how it works? All right. So I'll pass it back to Raj to conclude our session.
That's great. Thank you, Yogesh. So essentially what you saw was an easy way to bring all of the data in different forms into Data Cloud. But most importantly, you saw how easy it was to take advantage of that unified data. Imagine your purchase history and your point of sale data and all the data that was sitting in Redshift combined with the unified individual engagement data in Data Cloud. So you can bring that together and act on it. And that's the most fundamental power that we are basically bringing to you, so you can take it in the flow of AI, BI, agentic experiences that you want to light up. You should visit the Salesforce booth if you have time. Take advantage of some of the things that you can play hands-on. But we also have about 10 minutes for questions. There's more blogs that gets into more details. You're welcome to scan and check that out when you have some time. Yes. Well, thank you so very much. I really appreciate this. I'm glad we were able to spend time together. Yogesh and I will be outside if you have any questions as well. Take care. Bye.